morning, guys. So Cars and Coffee at Sparks. See you guys out there.
Next Saturday night, we're sending you back to the future. Back to the future. Back to the future.
Back to the future.
Back to the future. Back to the future. Back to the future. Back to the future. Back to the future. Back to the future.
Back to the future. Back to the future. Back to the future. Back to the future. Back to the future.
Great Scott. 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 Great Scott.
How far are you going?
About 30 years.
Alright, so what I have here is there's a Nissan Leaf drive unit that I grafted in there. These are the factory motor mounts in the rear. I made this sheet metal sort of assembly for the rear motor mount. The front two attach right up front to where the original transaxle would attach. I made my inverter from scratch. It's probably about a 6-month project to do that. There's a lot of trial and error and blowing up parts and all that. 300 kilowatt inverter. So basically it's got 6 big IGBTs. These are big power transistors. They're capable of 800 amps a piece. And so basically the story goes, I bought the car in 2013. It had a twin turbo Grand National engine in it, but everything about it was terrible. So it was full of black widows. It was in bad shape. Yanked all that stuff out of it. At that time I started getting into doing EV conversion projects. So I hadn't at that moment considered this as like an EV candidate. I was mainly just trying to do this this inverter project as a challenge.
It's for yourself, right?
Yeah, it was just for myself, right? And then I was like, oh yeah, I need to do something about this DeLorean. And then I started measuring, and that drive unit fits great. And my background is in software and computer engineering, and I hadn't done electronics in a while. This was going to be a big challenge. I was like, I just want to stretch goal on doing this. I was able to drive that drive unit statically in my garage. And then I thought, oh, I'm going to graft it into this car. The batteries came also from a Nissan Leaf. They're 24 kilowatt hour pack. There's 24 modules in the rear. They're all held together with these little copper bus bars. And then it's got these battery management modules that attach to it. This is the DC-DC converter, which is analogous to like an alternator in car. So that charges the 12 volt battery, which is behind the passenger seat. The 12 volt battery runs all the other stuff, headlights, infotainment, all that. And that came out of a Chevy Volt.
So you're just kind of putting stuff together.
Yeah.
And like you said, they're getting older now, so these parts are available now.
They're way more available than they were when I started building this. So when I started building this, it was mainly just the Nissan Leafs and the Chevy Volts, and Tesla to some level was available. And then now there's a lot more of them available. All those inverters have all been hacked now, so you don't have to build it from scratch like I did. That was the other thing. I did it partially out of necessity and partially out of a good challenge.
I like that, you know, to be honest with you, the fact that that's how I do things too.
Yeah.
Get something, put it together, and kind of like when we were kids, right?
Yep.
See what you can do with what you have, with what you want to spend on it, and not go too crazy on it. And now you have a platform, and now you can start upgrading stuff if you want to.
Precisely. So my limiting factors, I think I was mentioning earlier, is the battery. It's a first-gen Nissan Leaf battery. They have kind of a higher internal resistance, so I can't pull quite the amperage off of it that I would want. I'm also a little limited on range. If I just upgrade the battery, I can probably nearly double my horsepower
Nice.
that
Wow.
the car's pushing.
That's crazy.
And give myself a whole bunch more range.
That's really cool.
Now that I have all the foundational pieces in it and everything just works, that would be the next piece that I do.
Nice.
But to do that, I got to pull the body back off. So I can go onto any public charger. That's a level 2, the J1772 charger. It's not what you get at a supercharger station for like the Teslas, but it's like what all the other charge stations, like the charge point.
You did a really good job, man. It's super clean, even the way it sits, you know, the height. We were just talking about it. You did
Oh yeah, there's all coilovers. The inside is mostly stock.
I like what you did there.
Oh yeah,
It's
it was my
pretty cool.
little touch. This is all Alcantara. I redid the headliner and all this Alcantara. Most of it is like what you'd expect in like a normal factory DeLorean. This was originally a 5-speed car, hence the third pedal, which doesn't do anything right now. So I repurposed the factory shifter there's little switches inside. So I took all the guts of the shifter, they're gone. I built a new assembly in there. And so this is in the park position, that's reverse, that's drive. I just wanted to make it so it looked relatively stock on the inside.
That's what I was wondering how that works.
And then this middle button here is my parking. So I designed so on the Nissan Leaf drive unit, there's a little parking hall, like electronic park brake thing. I built a controller, and that interacts with the shifter, and then also I can turn the parking brake on.
Nice. And how fast does this thing go now?
0 to 60 right now is like in the low 5s. It's not like super fast, but the factory car was 10 seconds 0 to 60, so it's twice as fast as that. You know, so it's pretty good, and then it'll be even better when I upgrade the batteries on it. So what I do is I have a box that's sitting underneath here. It's a little Arduino microcontroller. It's taking data from the inverter in the back and the DC-DC converter up front. It's repackaging that data and setting it up to the head unit, which is just an Android head unit. So I wrote this little app that shows me my current phase amps and like all the temperatures of my IGBTs, so I can watch them. And then you got all the the stats for the DC-DC converter, that thing that's basically like the alternator. So as I drive, this goes up, obviously. So it's like all software, it's all electronics, it's like little microcontrollers, and it's everything becomes like building blocks. So it's like it's a building block.
One thing at a
confidence.
time. You do this,
right?
yeah.
So it's like you do a little project, and then you gain some confidence and abilities there. And
You
then
do that.
another one and another one and another one. Your brain starts working. You're like, oh, I can connect. I can make a little box that communicates with that, and communicates with this head unit. And then again, it's like a confidence thing. It's not being afraid of failure.
Correct.
Is what a lot of it is.
I like it. So you start one project, and then you don't know what the results are going to be at the end, but you're just going at it, and you're hoping that at the end you can drive this car to Cars and Coffee one day.
Yeah, and this is the first Cars and Coffee it's been to.
You see what I'm saying? So, but yeah, cool. I like the little detail back here too.
Oh yeah, my little hoverboard. These are my little door bars. The misconception with the doors is that you'll get stuck in these locations because you can't open the doors. But you have to remember the hinge point is right on the center. They only need 15 inches, roughly this.
From here to the ground, pretty much extra.
Here out,
Yeah.
I only need basically to right here to open up the doors. And so really my clearance to get out of the car is better than a normal car.
Exactly.
The only thing I can't do is go through drive-thrus, because these cars have a toll window, as they call it. So that's the only part that moves down, is that little guy.
That's all that moves down.
Yeah. It's because of the shape of the door. There wouldn't be any way, the geometry of the door wouldn't allow like a full-size window to go down. So they give you these little things for toll booths, but can you imagine going to, you can barely fit your hand through it.
If you break a window though, how does that work? Where do you get the windows?
So when DeLorean went into receivership, they were in the process of building a whole bunch of cars, right? This is like 1983. All those parts still exist. There's a company that bought all those parts. They exist in Texas now. And so most parts on the car I can get all new, like NOS. Like
I thought I heard that story. That
most things.
Yeah.
I damaged my taillight on the car, and there's none available, so I had to glue it all back together.
Does this car still have a heater and AC or any of that, or no?
So I haven't put them in yet, but yes, it will have those.
Okay.
So I have a heater that came out of an electric smart car. It looks just like a heater core. So if you think of like a heater core in any other car, it literally looks just like that, but it's got a big plug that plugs into it. And so I just I'll have a big solenoid, like a big contactor, which will engage it, and then I get my heat. AC, I have one out of a Model S Tesla.
Oh.
The early Model S Tesla, it's AC compressors look just like any other AC compressor, and they don't require anything special to control them. I literally just apply power to it and it turns on. And so then I can bury that up front and then have my AC. Because all these AC is critical in these cars. If you see, I don't have
That's
any
what I was
use-
thinking because of the window.
Oh, you just burn up.
My brain is just like, dude, how does he stay cool in here?
You don't. You don't. We just drive with the doors up or something, right?
So do you have an Instagram?
It's Gotgram, GOTGRAHAM, like got milk, but got gram, like the cracker.
Cool.
And I post all my builds on there. I'm pretty active.
Nice. Well, my name is David.
Yeah,
So what was your name?
Jacob.
Well, nice to meet you. Thank you for educating us on your car.